It's been about a week now. I actually finished this yesterday, and I got a bit too lazy to make a new video. So anyway, let's get into it. So for one, I believe I had covered the functionality of the cockpit detaching from the rocket in the last video. Essentially, when you manage to exit a planet's orbit, the rocket will simply propel the cockpit and then shut itself down shortly after. The functionality could use a slight modification because as it is right now, sometimes the rocket ends up bumping into the cockpit, which is not quite something that you'd want in a game or in real life. But for now, in terms of prototype, this works just fine. I had also implemented a way to better navigate the cockpit's movement. Whenever you use the mouse's right-click button, you are pausing the game, as in you are freezing time, until you stop holding the button. That way you can actually catch a break and see what is going on around you. Additionally, when you click on a planet and your cockpit still has enough fuel left, you will redirect the vehicle towards the said planet. I had to add this feature because using the regular commands to align the ship towards a planet was just way too complicated. You could do it, but it required so much skill I don't think most people would have been able to find it fun at first. It could still be interesting to push somewhere down the line, but for now, that's what we're going to do. Also, using the planet clicking feature does cost much more fuel than just using the regular commands, so that you'd be forced to somewhat get better in order to be more efficient. I have also added a collision explosion. So whenever you are going too fast and bump into something, the ship takes some damage. I have also been working on making the planets a little bit more interesting. Instead of just spawning random trunks all around, now we will have clusters in which the trunks will appear. I didn't want to add leaves yet because it might be too much and make it quite hard to see what's going on. But maybe in the future I could add foliage, we'll see. I have also created basic buildings, and these will not be spawned on all planets. That way it may feel like some planets are more advanced than others, creating a bit of variety. Their spawning logic also follows the cluster concept. Some areas have more buildings than others, and the overall number of buildings depends on the size of the planet. And finally, I've added grass. For the colors, I just thought I'd make them the complementary color of the planet to which it belongs, so that it would pop out much more, if that makes sense. Once again, it is clusterized, but much more propagated than the trees or houses. Moving on to the crew, I've created a very basic form of UI, so that we can see which crew member is being dealt with. I have also added these little bright green cursors so that you can see which characters are part of your crew. And I don't know if I've covered it in the previous video, but essentially I've removed the blue lines to indicate the path of the characters. However, I think that maybe I could keep it for the crew members specifically. It's just that the feature is definitely a pain in the ass when it comes to making the planets rotate or spin, but we will cross that bridge when we'll get to it. Next, we have these little white spheres on the surface of the planet. These are points where the characters can mine resources. Right now, it's extremely primitive. You just send your character onto the mining point, and then a VFX will indicate that the process is taking place. Nothing fancy. It's just for a minimum viable product, if you will. Going back to the ship, I have created a Boolean that will make all the agents come to its entrance when toggled. Once they are close enough, they get onto the ship. When all the agents are on board, the ship will turn on, and you will be able to start your space journey. The spaceship and cockpit also have a UI now, displaying the level of fuel as well as a health bar. If the health of the ship drops to 0, the ship will not be able to take in any commands. There is also a little board on the top left corner, indicating the distance between the center of the ship and the surface of the planet, as well as the current speed of the ship. Speed and velocity are of course not the same, as velocity is more about the direction and speed, while the speed itself is about how much distance is traveled in a specific time frame. I've defined the displayed speed as how fast the ship is going forward, so when the board is indicating a negative value, you know you are being dragged backwards, or in other words, you are not exerting enough power in order to escape the planet's gravity. Planets will also have different gravities. I have not implemented a way to increase the booster's power at runtime, so for now I needed to modify the said power from the editor. Otherwise, you might be running out of fuel before your spaceship even gets off the ground. In the previous video, you could also see some white orbs all over the place, which were supposed to represent distant stars. I've dropped the idea because it did not look great in my opinion, and also because you might come a bit too close to these objects, which would just look confusing. I have yet to find a way to populate the background and make it look interesting, without completely tanking my FPS. I had also implemented a way to make the cockpit slow down while in space. This is because when detaching from the rocket, we are given a certain velocity, and the cockpit itself will usually not have enough power and fuel to counter the said velocity. I have then added a VFX to show the ship trying to stabilize itself. You'll know you're still moving if the VFX are forming a sort of trail, otherwise they'll just spread evenly around the ship. Alright, over there in the distance you can see a purple planet with a ring around it. I believe that this is the last feature I've added, so planets now can have a ring of asteroids. The asteroids should be powerful enough to completely destroy your ship if you try to go through them. Anyway, that will be it for this game I tried to create in 7 days. If you want, I can always improve it and make it downloadable somewhere, just let me know. I'm definitely open to adding new features as well if you can think of any. Thank you for watching.